Hey, I'm Heidi, and welcome to the Believe Retreat, where, you know, we were talking about this. And when Francine gets low and down on herself, she doesn't give up, she doesn't complain. You know what she does? She writes a story. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about one of Francine's chapters, or the Francine's chapter that she's working on for our book anthology. And I'm so excited to see what she has decided that she's going with for this book. Hey, Francine.
Hey, well, this book was, kind of my idea. I said, hey, Heidi, would you like to write a chapter in anthology? And this whole idea was born. And I was thinking, what am I going to write about? I've written 3 chapters in 3 different anthologies, and they were all about totally different things. And then when we came up with the title, Believe That You Can, dot, 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 people who believed they could and did. I knew exactly what I would write about because when it was suggested to me that I take my adult self help books and turn them into children's books, I said, I don't even have children. I'm not an educator. How can I write children's books? Well, guess what? I believed in myself and I did. I did it. I am a children's book author. Second book is coming soon. But that's not where this story started because how many of you know that I was an aircraft electrician for the military?
I was
Wasn't
pretty shocked to hear that when I first found out. I was like, no way. Like, no.
it just
You
it
must
was
have been like the funnest person to be around in the military, though.
a lot of people said that I was good for morale because I was always the one going to the chow hall, getting a bunch of stuff from the chow hall and then turning it into charcuterie and a Christmas party.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I, all the packages my dad sent me, I'd hide away all of the cheese and the sausages, and I'd save them for when we were all together so we could have a party. And that's just the kind of person I am. I'm a nurturer. I am the one who tries to raise everybody's morale. And in this day and time, I am learning that kids missed a big chunk of their developmental days when, what happened? We all got sent home for a few
We all
years,
hid away and became hermits for a little while.
right? And the kids didn't get to go to school. They didn't get to go to Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. They didn't get to go to Little League. They missed this big time where they were learning from each other. And my adult books addressed the issues that adults face because of things that happened to them during childhood. Well, the people I worked with as a coach who are trying to overcome the negative childhood programming and the negative um, the traumas from childhood, none of them lived through a pandemic. So the kids today have this added dilemma in their growth journey. And I believed I could. And I did. And I am helping them believe that they can. Does anyone
Very
want
nice.
to? Does anyone want to hear? It's going to be a 1,200 word chapter in this anthology. So anybody who thinks they want to write a chapter, we're not talking about 5, 10,000 words. We're not talking about what did Lee Tran say? She wrote 100,000 words. We're talking about words. That is 4 to 5.
About 4 to 5 type pages.
That's it. 4 to 5 type pages. And for those of you,
That's double spaced.
no, it is not quite double spaced. It is, but it's not a lot. And but now on the other side of the coin, there's gonna be some people out there saying, I can't possibly tell my whole story in 1,200 words. Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you edit. We're here to help you refine. We're here to help you say, you know what, that paragraph really doesn't move the story along.
Hmm. And the other thing is, this is just the beginning. So it's like, just start with something, like whatever story you're like, that was a good story. Great. Start with that one. Don't get overwhelmed by the fact you have a whole lifetime of stories that you could be telling. Many of them are going to have some sort of impact on all kinds of people, but don't let that paralysis by analysis capture you. And a good way to do that is to just not do it by yourself and be stuck in your own cyclical thought patterns. You can have some
Right?
friends reset you and you start going down that path.
And what I'm going to read to you, this could be a whole book. I could write a whole book about this by putting in more rich description, by adding more details. But this is just a simple story of how I believed I could and did, which is all this book is, a collection, a curated collection of stories to spark inspiration in other people and make them want to get to know you better. So you can write that whole book and you will have an audience already built, an audience of fans who got to know you in this anthology, who are ready to buy your book when it launches. That's what we call a solo book.
And you might also be thinking, like, why do I want people to know me better? And that's actually the secret sauce. What everyone's secret sauce is that essence of what makes them, well, makes you you. And when you put up that wall and you're like, no, I can't be authentic, or oh, I can't do posts on social media, or I can't do these little short form things that just kind of give an introduction of who you are, that keeps people from actually diving deeper into everything that you have to offer. So that might be something like a product that you're offering. When you're offering, I don't know, I'm going to just come up with something really like off the wall, totally not creative at all. Like a plumber, for example, right?
Well, we've used this example before.
I know, that's why I've thought of it. I'm like, let's be consistent, right? Okay, so a plumber is a commodity. There are so many plumbers out there. But if you're also a plumber that happens to have a really interesting story that people can repeat, and it's a short story, this kind of stuff happens all the time. Contractor comes over, has a little bit of time to talk to the homeowner, tells a funny story while they're there. That homeowner repeats that to his neighbor next door when he's talking about the adventures of getting the plumbing repaired. That guy's like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Like, that dude sounds like a cool dude. I would definitely hire him. Like, if I have plumbing problems, and it goes on, and you end up having people repeating and telling your story, which is the great thing about stories. And like human history, we love stories. We love retelling stories. And so when you start to harness your stories, figure out how to tell these short stories, 1,500 words, you're going to catch more attention because people have short attention spans nowadays. And you're going to get more and more chances for people to remember the whole story and repeat it and retell it.
And then they're going to say, I want to know more about you. And they'll look at your blog. They'll look at your YouTube. They'll look at you on Instagram.
Yes.
It snowballs from there.
Yes.
So is
That's how it
anybody
works.
anybody ready to hear the story?
I want to hear the story, but wait, I need to hold on. We need to go over to like
Okay,
nope.
Joanna, it's
Oh
so
no,
good
this is
to
the wrong
have you
screen.
back, even though.
Ah, we need to go to the screen. Here you go. Tell me a story, Francine.
I believed I could and did. I spent most of my life as an aircraft electrician in the military. The work was technical, demanding, and high stakes. Every wire, every circuit, every checklist had to be exact because precision meant safety. My mission was simple: keep the planes in the air and the people who depended on them safe. That chapter in my life, it taught me discipline, resilience, and how to remain calm when everything around me screamed chaos. But while I was keeping everything else running, I wasn't taking care of myself. The stress of life, career, and endless responsibility began to take its toll. I gained weight, over 100 pounds. I grew dependent on medications just to function. The word retirement started creeping into my conversations with doctors, not because I wanted to retire, but because my body was giving out on me. I was surviving, I was not living. One day, I had a thought that stopped me in my tracks. If I had a plane in this condition, would I let it fly? And the answer was no. And yet, that's exactly what I was doing, expecting myself to keep flying without a proper inspection, repair, or rebuild. I needed a manual. But unlike, all those thick binders, the maintenance instruction manuals that I relied on in the hangar, there wasn't one for my life. So I decided to write one. I pulled from the places I knew best: my military training, my engineering background, and my experience as a change management specialist. Slowly, I began piecing together a framework, step by step, the way I would troubleshoot an airplane. That framework became my 6 step process of personal change. And it was the basis for my first book. And it wasn't easy, it wasn't fast, but it was progress. With every step I performed of those 6 steps, I found myself repeating a phrase that grew stronger with time. I believed I could, and I did. As I applied my system, something shifted. I didn't just lose weight or regain energy. I began to believe again. I believed that change was possible. I believed that my story wasn't over. I believed that I could create a life that didn't just survive, but thrived. Belief was the real breakthrough. The truth is, tools and strategies matter, but they only work if you believe you're worthy of using them. Belief is what transforms effort into outcome and doubt into determination. As belief took root in me, a new mission emerged. My mission used to be keeping airplanes in the air. Now, my mission is to help people rise higher than they ever imagined. That calling led me to become a children's book author. But at first, I doubted myself. I wasn't a mother. I wasn't a professional educator. So who was I to write for children? The path wasn't straight. There were moments I wondered if I should even try. But deep down, I held onto a simple truth. I believed I could. Piece by piece, I figured out how. Learning, experimenting, and trusting that my story could reach young hearts, even if my path looked nothing like what anyone expected. Instead of wiring aircraft, I help wire young minds with confidence, resilience, and self love. My books and programs are designed to give kids the tools I wish I had when I was younger. The tools to believe in themselves before the world convinces them otherwise. Because I've learned this truth. If we could grow strong, confident kids today, we won't have to fix broken adults tomorrow. This shift in mission gave birth to something even bigger. It's a full blown movement. This book, Believe That You Can, dot. People who believe they could and did, is more than an anthology. It's a manual of possibility, written not by engineers, but by everyday people who believed in themselves and did. In this book, you will read stories of men and women who faced enormous challenges and still found the courage to rise. Some believed they could start a business. Some believed they could heal. Some believed they could break generational cycles. And they did. Their stories are proof that you don't have to be perfect or powerful to create change. You only have to believe. Now, I want to turn the question to you. What dream have you put aside? What challenge feels too heavy to lift? What would happen if you choose today to believe you could? Your story's not finished. And this book isn't about the people who already did. It's about you, the reader, and what you will do next. So let me be your so let this be your mantra too. I believed I could and did. And now it's your turn.
Oh, that was so good, Francine. I had to put myself on mute because the wind was blowing and my chimes were chiming, and I didn't know it was like ruining the whole effect on my side. That was great.
Thank you.
Whoa. I mean, there were things that you said throughout this story that even recently in the last week, things that have happened to me, and I was thinking about the doubts I was having in that situation and puzzling over things and really kind of feeling down. And what you said about you realized really that you're okay because I believed in myself. Just hearing you say that almost kind of reinforced what I kind of came up with on my own as I was working through this particular problem. But it was something like I almost needed to hear. I needed permission that this is okay, mainly coming from that hustle culture world that's saying, you know, no, this is not okay what you are thinking about doing and where your doubts are coming from, because it does actually involve exactly what you were talking about, slowing down more, taking more time to making sure that I'm doing everything to make sure that I am flying correctly.
Right?
So it was like, oh my goodness, is this story for just for me this week? Did you? How did you know I needed to hear that?
Because there will be somebody out there who needs to hear every single one of the chapters in this book. Story, your story is a powerful one too, Heidi. And I'm guarantee there's a parent out there whose child is going through what you went through, or someone who had just gone through what you went through, wondering how they're going to get to their next chapter. So whether they use my 6-step process of personal change, or whether they find interest or inspiration in your story, or even Joanna, whose story is going to be about a character in her one woman show, which is a conglomeration of people in her life.
Mhm.
We can learn from these stories and gain inspiration from these stories. And with 52 authors in this book, we could inspire and get inspiration from each other too.
Mhm. Especially that. It's one of my favorite things about collaborating with other musicians is watching how a song transforms when everybody brings their piece. And it starts out as just this, it's kind of okay. And by the time you're done throwing in your little piece of the idea, it just turns into this magical masterpiece. And when we're talking about writing your story, I mean, that story is still yours. People are just kind of throwing in ideas, and it's up to you whether or not you want to take it that way or not. But it's so great to be able to have feedback during the writing process with people that understand that this is the writing process. This is not the finished product.
Right.
This is not like, no, don't worry about that sentence not being completely grammatically correct right now. Like, how does the overall thing make you feel? What do you think about this section? It's that kind of brainstorming that these kind of collaborations, I love it. It's
Well,
just so helpful.
and one thing I've learned in Toastmasters, when I'm developing a new speech, I will go and tell the speech in front of an audience and get feedback. Because sometimes what's here, because I've lived so closely with it, somebody in the audience might not understand me. So I need to know where I need to be more clear. Like,
Mhm.
for instance, in one speech about my time in Iraq, I used the term in country. And somebody gave me the feedback that that wasn't grammatically correct. I should say in the country. So I had to add, and I used a little humor there. For those of you who don't speak military, in country means in the war zone. So it didn't sound incorrect grammatically. They knew it was a military term. So,
Yeah.
what I want to invite our listeners to do, if there is anything in my story, and you could go back and listen to it again, if there is something that really resonates with you, please let me know, because maybe I could write a little bit more about that, because that's only about 720 words. I still have some more words to write. But if there's something that you didn't understand, or something that didn't sit well with you, I need to know that too. I won't, it won't hurt my feelings. It'll let me know that I just need to be more clear. It'll let me know that maybe I need to say it in a different way. It'll let me know that maybe I need another paragraph there to explain it better. I always love to know what my audience wants to hear, because I stopped talking about the military until I found out those are the stories people want to hear about me.
Yeah. Francine on adventures.
Yes, I've had a few.
So, Francine, if people want to start writing this, it was like a couple episodes back, maybe a month ago, you had written this really great kind of framework for helping you get started. I don't remember the name of what that was called.
It's the story development template. And all you have to do is join our community and you will get it for free. Let's put the link to our community in the chat.
It's also, oh, you can't, hold on. It's also in this QR code in the corner over here. But Francine's also going to put it in the chat. And what's awesome about our community is it's also a great way for you to start writing anything. I mean, sometimes getting started is just the hardest thing. So if you haven't really been writing, you haven't been in the practice writing, you don't journal, things like that, every day in the community, a new question is posted. And it gives you a chance to just kind of stop and ponder, slow down, and think and decide, do I have a process for this? Is this something that I've thought about before? And it's kind of cool to read what everyone else's responses are because it just gives me completely new insight on how to look at certain situations that we happen to be writing about. So little mini stories within the whole community. And besides that, you're also going to find Francine's documents. I think there might even be another one in there. If you look, there might be two special things from Francine that you can go ahead and download and get started on your story.
And you know what else I would love to see in this community? I would love to see people tell their story. You can make a post in our community and tell us about you. Introduce yourself. Let's get to know each other.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. There's a section for that for sure. All right, Francine, man. What a great storytelling session. I had a great time listening to you. Like I said, it went to the heart. So thank you for sharing that story with us today.
It's my pleasure.
So if you can conceive it, you can believe it, and you can achieve it, just like Francine was talking about today. So, from the head
To the heart.
to the heart to the hands.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
See you guys in the community.